The CEO was too busy for Christmas, buried under endless meetings, spreadsheets and cold deals that left no room for joy. His office, usually filled with bustling assistants and ringing phones, now felt quieter than ever, as if the holiday itself had forgotten him. He scrolled through emails with a mechanical precision, his mind somewhere far from sparkling lights, carols, or the warmth of a family gathering. The world outside carried on, bustling with festive decorations and laughter, yet he barely noticed, trapped in the monotony of deadlines and profit margins. Outside the office building, the winter air was sharp and crisp. A mechanic wiped his hands on his grease-stained overalls, squinting as snowflakes danced lazily from the grey sky. In his free hand, he held the small, mittened hand of his daughter, a little girl whose energy and joy seemed endless. Their shoes crunched on the thin layer of snow covering the sidewalk, and she tugged gently at him, pointing at every twinkling light and decorated window. "We should go see the big tree at the square, Daddy," she chirped, her voice bright with excitement. He smiled beneath his thick scarf. Money didn't flow freely in their household, but laughter and warmth always did. They had no extravagant gifts, no fancy decorations, yet somehow their little world was full of the kind of joy that even wealth couldn't buy. He ruffled her hair, and she giggled, spinning around in her coat, oblivious to the frost biting at her cheeks. As they passed the sleek glass windows of the CEO's office building, she pressed her tiny face against the cold pane. Her eyes widened at the sight of a man hunched over a desk, shoulders stiff, expression serious. "Look, Daddy, he looks sad," she whispered. The mechanic chuckled softly. "Maybe he's just busy," he said. "Some people forget how to enjoy Christmas." The little girl shook her head. "No, Daddy, everyone needs Christmas, even him." Her words lingered as they walked on, but somehow they echoed back inside the towering office. The CEO, for reasons he couldn't explain, felt the warmth of those words settle uncomfortably in his chest. He paused mid-email, stared at the window, and saw the pair walking away, leaving footprints in the thin snow. Something about the little girl's innocent insistence tugged at a part of him he had long ignored, a part that remembered tree lights, cozy evenings, and the smell of fresh-baked cookies. The next day, the mechanic's daughter pressed a small package into her father's hands. "Daddy, let's bring a gift to the man at the tall," she said earnestly. He raised an eyebrow. "It's just a little ornament, sweetie. That's all we have," he explained. "That's enough!" "Like it because it's made with love," she insisted, her eyes sparkling. So they wrapped it in a scrap of paper, tied with twine, and made their way back. The little girl's cheeks were red with cold, but she barely noticed, clutching the tiny package. Tightly as they entered the grand lobby, the receptionist blinked at them, but didn't stop them. The girl marched confidently to the elevator and pressed the button herself, as if she had business with the world's busiest man. When the CEO finally opened the small door of his office, he wasn't prepared for the sight. The little girl stood there, holding out her gift, eyes bright and hopeful. The mechanic hung back, hands shoved in his pockets, watching silently. I made this for you," the girl said, her voice trembling slightly. The CEO took the small ornament, a simple star made of paper and glitter, and looked down at it. He felt an unexpected warmth fill his chest, a long-forgotten ache he hadn't realized existed. He looked up at the little girl, and for the first time in years he smiled, not the polite practice smile he gave in meetings, but a real human smile. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice catching. "It's beautiful." The little girl grinned. "See, Christmas is for everyone." The mechanic stepped forward, embarrassed but happy, and nodded. "It's nothing fancy, sir, just a little reminder that kindness is bigger than money." The CEO's eyes welled with tears, and he realized how long it had been since anyone had cared enough to remind him of that simple truth. In that quiet office, with the cold snow falling outside, the warmth of a small girl's heart, and the gentle pride of her father, worked a kind of magic that no business deal could ever replicate. They stayed for a while, talking, laughing softly, sharing stories of holiday traditions, simple joys, and the little things that really mattered. The CEO felt the heaviness of the season lift from his shoulders, replaced by a light he hadn't felt in years. When they finally left, the little girl waved, and the mechanic carried her back to the waiting snow. The CEO watched from his window, a strange but wonderful feeling blossoming in his chest. For the first time, he understood that Christmas wasn't about gifts, meetings, or schedules. It was about connection, warmth, and the unassuming power of love. From that day on, he made room in his heart for the small things, the laughter of children, the kindness of strangers, and the quiet heroism of those who gave without expecting anything in return. A single ornament had repaired more than his holiday spirit. It had repaired his heart. Absolutely. I'll expand part 2 into a complete probational story under 1,000 words, keeping it warm, emotional, and readable, featuring a 30-year-old little girl, 10-year-old daughter, and a 35-year-old male mechanic. Here's the full story. The little girl, bright-eyed and full of life, clutched a small, carefully wrapped package as she approached the tall glass building. Her father, a mechanic with grease-stained hands and a humble smile, followed closely behind, his 10-year-old daughter holding his hand tightly. The winter air bit at their cheeks, but their spirits remained warm, buoyed by excitement and hope. Daddy, the little girl said, her voice trembling slightly but full of conviction. It's Christmas. Everyone should have some joy, even the man inside. The mechanic nodded, feeling a mixture of pride and nervousness. It's beautiful, he said softly, but are you sure you want to give it to him? Yes, she insisted, stepping forward confidently. He looks so sad. Don't you want to make him smile? Together, they stepped into the building's sleek lobby. The receptionist glanced at them curiously, but said nothing as the little girl marched toward the elevator, her small hand pressing the button. Her father followed quietly, holding the hand of his 10-year-old daughter, who seemed to understand the importance of the moment, even without fully grasping it. The elevator doors opened with a soft ding, and the three of them stepped into the CEO's world, polished floors, endless glass, and a towering desk that seemed to symbolize the very distance between him and the world outside. The CEO, absorbed in his reports and digital spreadsheets, barely noticed them at first. Then the little girl stepped forward, holding out her gift. Her eyes shone with hope and courage. "I made this for you," she said, offering the ornament carefully. The CEO looked down, startled. The gift was simple, a handmade star crafted from colored paper and glitter, tied with twine. It was small, humble, and full of meaning. He looked into the little girl's eyes and felt something stir, a warmth he hadn't experienced in years. The mechanic stepped closer, his own hands dirty from hours of work, but his heart full. "It's not much," he said quietly, "just a reminder that kindness matters more than anything else." The CEO's gaze softened. He reached out and took the ornament, feeling the rough edges of the paper, the effort behind each glittering stroke. For a moment, the world of meetings, deadlines, and cold numbers faded away. He saw not just the girl, but the love behind her gesture, the care of a father who worked tirelessly, and the innocence of a child who believed that a simple act could make a difference. Tears pricked his eyes, and he blinked to hold them back. "It's beautiful," he whispered. I haven't felt this in a long time. Thank you." The little girl beamed, and her 10-year-old sister, shy but smiling, stepped forward to wave. The mechanic nodded quietly, proud of his daughters and the courage they had shown. For the next few minutes, they shared laughter and conversation. The CEO listened as the little girl described how she made the ornament, why she believed in spreading joy, and the small traditions she cherished with her family. The mechanic shared stories of their modest life, filled with simple pleasures and hard work, emphasizing the love that held them together. By the time they left, the office felt different, lighter, warmer, infused with the spirit of Christmas. The CEO stood by the window watching, The little girls and their father walk away, snow crunching beneath their feet. For the first time in years, he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Hope, gratitude, a genuine joy that no business deal could ever provide. That night, he placed the handmade ornament on his office desk, where it caught the light of the setting sun. It wasn't much, just paper and glitter, but it was a symbol of something far greater, the power of kindness, humility, and generosity. The walls he had built around himself began to crumble, slowly but surely, and he realized that Christmas wasn't about presents, parties, or profit. It was about heart, connection, and the courage to care. The little girl's simple act had done what no meeting or email ever could. It reminded him that no matter how busy life became, there was always room for love, for compassion, for the laughter of children. And for the first time in years, he truly felt Christmas in every sense of the word. As they walked home through the softly falling snow, the mechanic held his daughter's hands tightly. They had not only brightened the holiday for a man who needed it, but they had also reminded themselves of the magic that exists in giving without expecting anything in return. Their hearts were full, and the world just a little brighter. The CEO, alone in his office, smiled as he touched the ornament again. A simple star had cracked the walls of his heart, repaired more than just his holiday spirit, and reminded him that sometimes the smallest gestures make the biggest difference. Christmas had come after all, in the laughter of a little girl, the quiet pride of a hard-working father, and the warmth that only hope and love could bring.